Alright, well I think I did an introduction to this. But this one here is pretty much the SRT4 that should not be fixed. It's had such a hard life, and as I was cutting zip ties, removing the fuel regulator, I really thought that it might be a good idea to get some of this on film. So, as I'm looking down in here, I got the fuel regulator out of the way. We removed what was holding it in place. Let's grab a pair of cutters. Let's cut some more zip ties. Goodness. I don't know what this one's holding, so let's just get that one out of the way. Alright. So, I'm guessing that's for the reverse lights. That plug's damaged. Now we got this one here. Let's see what this one... What does this one hold? Ah, we have a temp sensor. It's supposed to go in the charge pipe. We have the tip sensor, which is running... Oh my gosh, I hope you can see this. This one is running a vacuum line to the blow-off valve. Not quite sure how that works, but this is definitely not how you hook this up. Oh my god. Alright, interesting. You learn new things every day, and some of them are just so totally amazing. Okay, now that we got some of that out of the way, we here have a vacuum line. Okay, this vacuum line, as you notice, is going to this. So this is supposed to, you know, when it has vacuum, lower your fuel pressure, maybe when boost, maybe increase it. Would you really like to know where the other end of that vacuum line goes? It goes to the charge pipe. I don't see any vacuum. I mean, you know, it might make some boost, but it's just not right. Not how to do that. Yeah. Everything just gets better and better. So, anyway, our goal today is to remove the transmission out of this car, because it supposedly had a brand new clutch installed and it doesn't disengage. So they didn't replace the clutch fork. We have another one here. We have a new pivot ball if needed. So right now that's the goal. That's our assumption on what's going on. The push rod's actually off the pedal assembly underneath the dash. And we have the upgraded DCR push rod to put in there because it just seems like it's the best way to go. And they're not highly priced, and it's an upgrade over stock. So let's get this thing tore apart. I'm just going to throw this thing on time lapse. I'm sure there's going to be some great things that I can probably highlight later down through the video. Let's just see here. What else here real quick before we put this on time lapse? Okay, now I'm 100% guilty of these two zip ties. It's just so I know what battery goes to this car. All right, let's see how well the battery boxes or battery trays held in. Well, A+ on installation on that one. Man,
I don't even.
What an impressive automobile. Okay, so we're going to get into this. We're going to drain the tranny out. We're going to pull the axles, you know, the type of stuff you need to do to get the tranny out. I'm actually pulling the entire intake. It's got bolts missing out of the intake manifold into the cylinder head up here. So we're just getting everything out of the way right now. And you know, for some reason this owner wants to bring this thing back to life. I mean, honestly, at the beginning I suggested otherwise, but man. Alright, let's get this thing on time lapse and get some parts off of this and cut some zip ties. I'm not too sure about what all was actually captured there. We got a bunch of stuff off. I mean, you know, we got wiring that's damaged, it needs repaired here. We got wiring that's damaged, needs repaired there. There was like a rubber bushing kind of holding that in. All kinds of leaks and stuff here. You know, we got, I don't know, wrong. Both of these are the wrong bolts that were holding the intermediate axle in. Look at that. Look at that right there. Check that out. That's not exactly the correct way for that to be on a ball joint. So you technically should have those too. So there's something else to add to the list. Now, I don't know if you can see the pipe coming down. That is the external wastegate. Right next to that behind there, hopefully you can see it. That is the rack with no bushing. Okay. Now here's our core support. That's kind of nice too. So, all right, now come down here. All right. This is like not even connected to the lower core support. So, you know, that needs fixed. It was missing these brackets. None of those were there. That's damaged and bent up over there. Here's part of the power steering. I think it was leaking some transmission fluid. We actually got 1.5 quarts of tranny fluid out of the transmission. So, you know, and this thing was supposedly just had a new clutch put in it. They replaced the flywheel. It does make a weird noise when it gets started, so we're going to try to address those issues also. I don't know if you can see up in there. Hopefully this thing does better in dark. We got the exhaust back here. It looks like we have an Aftercat 02 that's not plugged in, and then that looks like an old style AFR plug for a sensor, which is non-existent. Okay, so let's get up top here. Whew, man. So here's some of the stuff. Here's the computer bracket. Here is the shifter cable clip. Fuel line from the rail to the fuel wall. Here's one of the bolts that were in the transmission. You can see it's got stuff in the threads. Here is what was being used as a shifter cable bushing. Look at that. Mush. It had this on top. A little horseshoe clip for a brake. You know, it's just... This is the start of it. You know, clamps are a mess. The starter actually looks like it's no good here. That might have been part of the problem. Real loose here at this connection. We are down to, we have to remove the shifter cable bracket, get that out of the way. We're going to set up the engine hoist. We have 2 top bolts here and this one on this side, and we're going to see if we can drop this transmission down out of here. So we're going to get the floor jack, the engine hoist set up, and get these couple things unbolted. Oh my goodness, I don't know if this even gets down in here good enough. Alright, well, we got the bracket off. This bolt was off. Every single bolt that was going into the frame mount was wrong. Had washers on it. There was the wrong bolts going in holding the transmission mount. And on top of that, it's missing half the rubber out of the transmission mount. So the transmission mount's no good. So now we got to get a transmission mount. You gonna show them what they need to see?
Nope. Taking out the 2 trans bolts, which are obviously loose. No need to tighten those up. And they look... That is terrible. Just horrible.
How tight are they?
Hand tight.
Is that what you want to call it, huh?
This one I couldn't grab.
Well, how long are they? The fucking even right length?
Nope.
They're short like yellow, and it was in the back.
They're the stubbies. Yep.
There's so much stuff that I see on these cars that just it amazes me to no end.
I'm just surprised it actually has the shim plate.
Yeah, that's impressive too. Somebody just, I guess, never took it out, or who knows.
Well, that kind of looks...
No, that's, I mean, it might be, it's close to the right length, so.
And there she is.
Trans is off. Let's shove this back just a little bit. Now we got to get the wiring inside. Make sure we don't cause any more damage than what's already done to this damn thing.
Here we go. So, shimmy her over there.
Part of the old one, or the Vito wire. Alright, let's see here. Not wanting to disengage. The guy who installed it actually has the pins damaged on the throwout bearing. So, I mean, and then the grease is all in the wrong places. And, yeah, it's not exactly looking pretty in here. Alright, so we have new Mopar seals here. There's the part number if you want to see them. Got these from Good Old Modern. If you see here, this one here has damage in here. I'm sure that, you know, you can see this is actually cleaner right over here where my finger is. So this was leaking, actually cleaning the dirt off of that side. I have a seal puller. Okay. Just kind of hook it. We're actually going to do both seals on this transmission. I have two of these to install. I'm going to open one of them up here and show them what they look like out of the pack. Alright, there's what you see. They got a little bit of grease in there on them on the inside for when you first start them up. So I like to get, I have a large socket here, and I'll get it inserted, and then I'll use this large socket, hold it in place, and then just give it a little tap. Usually they pop right in. So here's how this is going to work. Hopefully there's enough light. Now these are kind of like almost a two-piece because they have those metal on the outer edge. Awesome light, man. Sometimes you just gotta take some time and give them a little bit of a greasy fingers on camera just never agree too much. All right, see, there's they have a spring on the inside that holds that clip in. So anytime you pull them out, you want to be careful because you can actually damage whether you're using this or you're beating on the edge with a screwdriver. And you can actually damage where you want the seal to go. All right, you always want to get in here and double check, clean everything up, inspect your inspect the location. All right, we're gonna pop over here on this side. And then we're a little tight here because I got the factory ones, which is weird. They have this fitting. I don't know if it's something to actually make them install better. Now on this side, there's actually a metal ring inside here, so you want to be careful not to go in too far with this. You want to go in just far enough where you're catching the seal. All right, give it a little tap. We're starting to pull it out up here. All right, see now, we can get in here, get a little light. All right, see here, this ring. You want to make sure you don't catch that when you're trying to pull it out. I've seen guys do that, and then it causes leak problems and seal problems, and you end up having to pull the transmission actually out of the car if you're doing this, and pulling off the differential cover and replacing that shim in there. All right. Here's a little secret that I use. This is just wheel bearing grease, high temp synthetic bearing grease. It's kind of red, so it kind of makes it kind of cool. Now, when you have seals, there's a spring in here. Sometimes if you're putting the axle in, you could pop that spring off and then you end up with not a seal. Anything like this would work. I always take the grease and then I pack this in the backside of the seal, and it will really help keep that spring, like I had showed you over here. This is wrapped around the seal, and that helps. That actually is what helps make the rubber seal on the round part of the axle that's inserted into the transmission so that it doesn't leak fluid. So like I said, this holds this in, and I just fill this with grease, get worked all the way around. There's a little bit inside here, a little bit more, doesn't hurt. You know, you definitely, if you're assembling something, you want to have some kind of lube on these seals right here, because if they start up and they're dry, they'll actually wear the seal out right away and you'll be back to having a leak. All right, so I'm going to have him come around to the other side because that's going to be a little easier to show you. Just going to take the seal, hold it in here, make sure it's flat and even and square the whole way around. You kind of want to make sure you start it as square as possible. Sometimes you don't have luck. As you can see, it's pretty darn near to being squared in. And you can see the lip here on the edge. We're going to just tap it all the way in. Alright guys, that's how you put your seal in. I'm going to do the same on the other side, and then we're going to get ready to do the fork, and we'll see you when we get back. Alright, so we got the good high dollar parts here ready to go back in. I use this assembly lube. It seems to work pretty good. I use it on all kinds of different things: tractor, car, fittings, motorcycles, ATVs. So here's the clip. When you install this, you put the rubber up in. If you look, it has that top end that's like a hook. This bottom end's like that. The hook goes on the outside. I've taken a bunch of these off where that hook was down here. It's not how it goes. Alright, now normally you have a nice new throwout bearing, which this one is, and there shouldn't have been any reason why these clips were busted off, but somehow whoever installed it did do it right. So they should actually clip into here. I'm hoping that it doesn't, it's fitting tight enough into here right now, so hopefully that makes our installation easier when we go to stick the transmission back in, because you could actually have, this will fall out of the fork and the fork will actually fall down like that, and then you're trying to force it in and then you have problems. So that's just another thing to keep in mind if you're installing a transmission. I put this stuff inside of the throwout bearing. That's why it has those little grooves in there to hold some lube. Alright, just like that. You don't want any access on this top side because it could contaminate your clutch. Got it on here, it's got a clean spot. Okay. Alright, there we go. Let's take this, slide it over, like so. Man, that is tight. That's good, but it's not exactly making it easy. Make sure you're lined up before you do this. Popped right in there. Okay, now I got my fork going the right way. I'm just going to try to force it into the throwout bearing and the fork together here. All right, that's going to hold it in place, as you can see right there. So that's ready to go in. Okay, as much grease and oil and stuff that's on the top side here, I think this is actually more engine oil, which is from the valve cover leak. So we're just going to wipe a little bit of that up. I mean, it sucks having this transmission out and not taking the time to actually wash this stuff up before you reassemble it. But some jobs just work out this way. All right. Good. All right, look. Do you see this right here? Do you see this? Both of us. We're both standing here lifting this up. You don't lay underneath this. This is the proper way to do this. If you have an engine hoist, the car is supported, you can use jack stands, whatever. So right now we are actually jacking the transmission up in. All right, we're on the pod. We're jacking. He's lining it up. 2-person job. This should actually go pretty easy. It's no guarantee.
Not with me.
Oh, it don't matter who it is. It's no guarantee.
All right, keep them going. All right, give me a second. Let me get this plug out of the way. All right. I should grab a light.
Well, you know something?
Hey, look, there's a light.
We have one of those.
Actually, I need it right here. Kind of.
No, it's just you can never find the right place to lay a light, dude. You know better than that.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. There we go. I can't even. Let's see.
Is it staying? Well, I think right now at this point,
it's staying.
we should actually get the absolute correct bolts to go into this transmission, because there was not a single correct bolt holding this transmission in anywhere. Right? Not a single one. So,
Hey, look, there they are.
there we go. We're digging into my bag. My box of bolts for my stuff again.
Oh.
For car. Alright, well here's 3 of these. So, I'm just going to set them up here in the middle of the valve cover. And those are the 2 that we're going to use. Now, I know that wiring needs fixed too, bud.
Oh.
It's never end. This car is going to be a never-ending car right here.
It's going to be a car that keeps on...
Well, keeps on taking and caking and taking to be made right. So, where are we at? We got to come up a little bit. We got to go in a little bit.
I would say maybe it needs to come up just... Well, actually, no. That looks just about right, honestly.
Bad timing, baby.
Nope. Look at that. And she's in. Just, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I didn't want that in.
Well, I'm just saying sorry so she knows.
No, it's... I don't know.
You don't know who it is? Alright, I got you. So, do you actually have a bolt started? Is it tight against the motor, or where are we at?
Hold on. Alright, it needs to go in. And... I mean, I'm a lot closer now.
Well, you can get them in and use it as an alignment. The whole idea is to not. That felt like, to me, it feels like it's almost in.
It is almost in.
I mean, I can't see nothing where I'm at.
Oh, I got it started. Give me a second to get the...
Yeah, we didn't have an 18 out because the other one was a 19.
Yep. So, I now officially have the 18 in hand.
Nope. You want to try to get that back one started too?
Yeah, there it is. Alright, give me a second. Let me power through all this.
That's really good. So you shouldn't be having to force them bolts in at all. No. You should just thread right in. I mean, don't get me wrong, the threads might have a little bit of dirt on them. No, we didn't clean or prep anything.
Yeah, this back one I mean, it still goes in nicely. It's just...
Yeah. There was a little bit of dirt on one of the threads on one of them bolts. So.
Yeah, it's the one in the back.
Yeah. Make sure no wires are pinched. Everything's good.
Yep.
All right.
Give me a second and I'll double check this one.
Yep, yep.
Little pressure sensor.
Yep.
And that's still good.
All right.
We're all good.
Awesome. A couple seconds to do what needs to be done right the first time. Let go of that and see where you're at.
You're good.
All right. How's that look?
It's actually nice to have the right bolts.
Yeah.
Right bolts, I should say.
Well, I got the rest of the brackets that need to go on the bottom sitting here in the car with all of the bolts already in them. Because when I pull stuff apart, I put the zip ties on the bolts. So.
Very quick. And she is home. There it is.
All right,
Like that.
so these are some of the, these are the two brackets that we're missing, and these are the correct bolts that actually are going to hold this in place down across the bottom. The 1/3 bolt that I grabbed actually comes in from the bottom. It goes above the speedometer sensor in the very bottom, and that holds that in.
Kind of figured.
And then the only two I need to get are the two that actually hold the pipe.
The
Which I
charge
think,
pipe.
yeah, I think I just pulled those. So pretty much everything else now at the moment is going to need to be done at the bottom.
Yes.
And then we can get the transmission bolted in the rest of the way.
Yep, everything goes.
All right, well, we're going to get that one in. I'm going to grab the two bolts I need for this. We're going to get, you can actually probably get the jack out of the way, maybe.
Starter.
Well, I'm going to grab the correct starter bolts and actually install another starter because I didn't like the way that felt.
Yeah.
How about right here now? Why don't
you want to grab the?
Why don't I go and grab a good transmission mount that I have, and we're going to bolt this battery bracket back in place also, and then we'll get the jack and the mount out of the way, and then we'll finish bolting the rest of this transmission in. So let's grab some parts.